Since February 2018, the crack team consisting of an old hipster, a rookie, and Tyrod Taylor's biggest fan record from a secret location in the heart of Scotland. Their aim is to try and dissect all things NFL. If you want their opinion, and if you can find them, this is the American Football Cast.
Episode 20. We are back. I am back from the wilderness. My vested veteran contract, where you buggers only pay me week to week, and you realise that you cut me last week so I didn't have to get any money, has been well enforced. But you've taken me back. I don't know how long for, but anyway. I've actually been ill this week. So, first co-host, Dr. Smith, has been updating the status of me as the week goes. As of Monday, I was out. I was upgraded to doubtful on Tuesday. Questionable yesterday, and here I am. I actually did make it. Second co-host has been trolling one of our dearest listeners hard this week on the Fantasy Chat. Bless you, Kev, you have taken it very well. Hey guys, how you doing?
You sound dead, mate.
Thanks. Hence why the week has been slowly getting better. I made it just. Whether I can continue to keep leathering as the ever goes, we'll see how we... Well,
You're the Rob Gronkowski of hosts.
Won't do a full 16-week season. Something's bound to go wrong. That's my age showing, eh? Right, anyway, into this week. So, changing the format a little bit again. Doing game roundups. They have been rather time-consuming in order to fit everything in. And, well, you pretty much get them on most podcasts anyway. So, we thought we were going to break away from that for a bit, see how it goes. Back to the kind of discussions we were having prior to the season starts. About this week's news and some other random things that we'll come out with as we go. So, first up on the docket, Dr. Smith, would you like to make the announcement?
Yeah, I'm so happy because Mike McCoy got fired. And yeah. What I'm not happy about is how bad the Cardinals were on Thursday. To lose to the Broncos, who themselves are a bad football team.
They've not been great.
And to lose so convincingly, that's upsetting.
35-3 at half time, wasn't it?
Something stupid like that.
Yeah. It was game over within about the first 10 minutes, was it not? Had they not scored a pick six and they'd scored their own offensive touchdown in the first 10 minutes of the game or something. And at that point you were already like, oh, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
And you just gone 3 and out. Rosen ended up with 5 turnovers?
Yes.
3 interceptions and 2 fumbles?
Yep, that's all correct. Thanks, you've just ruined my mood again. This was meant to be a positive section, so yeah. Mike McCoy's gone, and
Byron Leftwich?
Yes, that's the name that was struggling to come to my head. Byron Leftwich.
What was it you said last week? Steve will be cursing us just now because I don't know the name, and I was shouting in the car. I was like, "It's Jalen Ramsey! I know it. You don't know it. I'm gonna have to Google it."
That was literally
exactly. We literally said Steve will be screaming.
It was a complete mind blank, and then I was like, "Oh, Jalen Ramsey!"
That happens a lot. I guess everyone mind blocks. It's all good.
So yeah, Byron Leftwich comes in as offensive coordinator, promoted from quarterbacks coach. I think he's the guy that Bruce Arians had highlighted that would have the job long term.
Which bodes well.
Steve, you've seen him play.
I have, yes. Now, I had to drop this in the chat. I was like, yet again another former player who I used to watch play, who is now a coordinator, or in Mike Vrabel's case, a head coach. I'm getting old. It's not good. It's not good at all.
Yeah, I looked into him a little bit and saw the play from his college days, or the game from his college days where he broke his shin. You seen this?
No.
So I think there was someone in our fantasy chat, I can't remember who it was, who highlighted this. So I went and looked at it on YouTube.
Oh, it's your mate Jack?
No, I think it was Stevie.
No, it was Stevie. Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Stevie is a fellow oldie like me.
Yeah.
He knows the game from a long time ago.
So, yeah, and when he was in college, he broke his shin in the first quarter of a game and came back into the game in the fourth quarter with a broken shin. He made a big play, and to get down the field, his offensive lineman picked him up and ran with him. And then put him in position for the next play.
Wow.
So yeah, if you've not seen that,
I'm gonna have to watch this.
Google Byron Leftwich being carried by his offensive lineman. It's brilliant.
That is awesome.
So a tough guy.
Jeez. Do you feel positive about it?
I have to.
Well,
Because if I didn't
can
feel
it be any
positive
worse?
from where we were, then that's just horrendous.
You could have the mad Chip Kelly offence brought in and it would be a million times better than what you've just had.
Yes.
However, on that point, though, that's Mike McCoy who's been cut twice during the season. Last 2 years. I think he's done. I don't think he's going to come back for anything.
Nah, you
He's
surely
really
can't
struggling.
come back.
Even the Browns wouldn't take him on.
Nah.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
They're actually doing better.
Game over.
They're doing better than what I was giving them credit for. Jesus, I think my voice is about to go already, and I'm only like 5 minutes in. Sorry.
We'll see him on our TV screens as a pundit at some point.
Who?
Mike McCoy.
Probably.
Because he's never going to get back into the game properly.
I don't think so. Unless he goes down to college.
They probably wouldn't even want him on TV. Is that bad? Why would they want him giving
If he's as
play
bland
calling?
as talking, if he is play calling, that's going to be awful.
Yeah, not Todd
Always.
Gurley just ran for 50 yards and a touchdown, but I would have went for the safe check down 5 yards.
on boring commentators, have you seen the minor backlash against Jason Witten?
He is pretty dull.
Awful. Yes.
Yeah.
It was like, the Tony Romo experiment worked brilliantly.
Yep.
I mean, his first game, when he was actually calling the plays out before they were happening,
Oh my God, it was
just
awesome.
amazing to see.
He's done it.
Romo is just so game aware. Yeah, he's got
I think-
football brain.
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
why I was just.
I think they hoped they were going to get something similar from Witten, but
I think a quarterback's different, where the sense of they have to have that football brain because they have to see everything that's going. They have to be able to read the defense. They have to know all the plays, and he can obviously, when he's in the booth and he's looking at the screen, he can obviously see how the defense is set up, and he's thinking, okay, what would I do?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And it was awesome, and he is awesome to listen to as well. And he calls it really fair as well, Romo.
he
Like
still does it now, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he
he
still
does,
calls
yeah,
the
yeah.
plays before they happen.
Yeah.
I imagine he'll naturally do that less and less as
Yeah.
time goes on.
Whereas,
As
yeah.
it's more about how to commentate the game and the flow of the game, but
I don't know, because I think that's why he's a hugely popular commentator. It's because he gives you that extra insight.
Yeah.
And
I
if
think there'll come a
commentator-
time though where he can't keep up with it. The game will change faster because he's not playing it. Will the
Maybe.
game not change faster than he will be aware of?
Maybe.
Or do you think he will study that much game tape? He will be able to go with it anyway.
I mean, a counter argument to that would be people like. In fact, no, it's not a counter argument because I was going to use John Gruden, but it's not working for him.
He definitely hasn't kept up.
But then,
Jesus.
before Gruden actually coached, I suppose, when he was a commentator, he was pretty good. But now I'm thinking, yeah, that was an awful example because he's doing terrible.
He's come back, yeah. Jesus. Poor Raiders. Fucking hell, they are.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, your cards are in bad nick, but you ain't no Oakland Raiders. Let's give you that.
Yeah, it's really quite disappointing because I
You
quite
got
like
in for the
number
first
one
overall pick.
So the disappointing Raiders, does that lead us on to Amari Cooper?
Go for it. Nice segue. The Segway Kings are back in the house.
Segway Kings, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how we done that last week.
It was rather impressive.
It was
yeah.
beautiful.
and as a listener, I was like, wow, you've floated nearly every game in the other one.
Yeah, so Amari Cooper went from the Oakland Raiders, who are clearly doing everything they can to get a high draft pick next year.
They are selling out in the season.
And so they got a first round pick for Amari Cooper, who went to the Cowboys. So before we discuss it, does anyone think it's a good trade? Or who is a good trade
for
for?
the Oakland Raiders, yes, it's a brilliant trade.
It is a one-sided trade.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Dallas has gone and got a wide receiver. Okay, so I'll put that there. Not for a first round pick.
Yeah, it's
Jesus
the compensation, isn't it?
Christ,
That's not-
what they've given away for what they've got back is awful. He's a young wide receiver. He's decent from what he's done, but he's been really streaky. And his most recent, he's on the downturn.
Was it
which is
2
not good.
years ago where he had the really good season?
Yeah.
So-
But then Oakland had a really good season. Everything was clicking for them 2 years ago.
So-
That probably helped. Carr's best season. They got the playoffs, didn't they? I think
They got the playoffs, but Carr broke his leg, didn't he?
That was it,
and the
yeah.
end of the season was just
Yeah.
shock horror. I remember an injury.
So, I mean, the Cowboys needed a wide receiver. They've not really done much.
The ones they've got in.
Yeah, Alan Hurns has been pretty crap.
Yeah.
Their third round, Michael Gallup, I think he got a touchdown against the Redskins at the weekend, but apart from that, he's been pretty crap.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes takes a bit longer for rookies to get in, though, so I wouldn't give up on him yet. He make him good next year. Whatever.
So I'm just going to throw. We're saying that the compensation was maybe a bit much, but just to throw a little bit of maybe a counter argument. So the wide receivers that have gone first round last year and the start of the second round as well. So Calvin Ridley, will agree that he's doing pretty well. I think we're all comfortable with that. DJ Moore.
Got a touchdown last week or 2 weeks ago. Not awesome, but not ready to sell on him yet.
So he went to the Panthers, and then we've got Courtland Sutton at the Broncos.
Who has been quiet, but actually has been playing okay. He's just not had any of the newsreels or highlights or whatever to go with it, but actually he's quite a good piece of that Broncos offense.
Dante Pettis, who had the amazing green dreadlocks.
You say amazing, I say awful. I
mean, that's what I mean, they're that bad that they're awesome.
We could do a top 5 worst haircuts. I'm chucking James Connors in there. My God, what is that? A half-bald, four-headed monk with a mullet from the flipping 80s or something.
I thought he looked like something like Pocahontas or something like that.
The Apache Indians coming to take the lands.
So there's Dante Pettis, Christian Kirk,
who is the leading rookie in terms of receptions.
There you go.
Anthony Miller, he plays for the Bears, couldn't tell you anything about him.
Scored recently, but yeah.
James Washington, the Steelers, he's in a tough situation. The Steelers have got a lot of...
They can bring him in. I mean, he's easily, third in the depth chart, but he'll get opportunity.
DJ Chark from the Jags, couldn't tell you anything about him.
Has he caught anything this season? He must have done, but I just can't. I don't think he's.
So there's probably more wide receivers, and again, I'm thinking if they're the Cowboys next year, you have to draft a wide receiver high. If you had that first round pick, that had to be a priority because the defensive line's good. They're probably not going to replace Dak with a quarterback yet.
No.
The defense is actually pretty good as well.
Yeah. Shore up the secondary. They could do with secondary help. But the front seven is solid.
So their options are wide receivers, cornerbacks. That's probably the areas they need to improve. But from looking at this season, you would think they would draft a wide receiver. So I guess the point I'm trying to make here, do you think that drafting a rookie versus taking a Amari Cooper in the first round, I know I get the argument that it's probably a lot, but for the position that you need, is it that bad?
Yeah, I get what you mean. He's young as well. He's still only 24, isn't he?
Yeah.
Even now, and he's had 4 seasons in the NFL.
So
he came out of college young, so that's another benefit. And because you've got a lot of rookies struggle with transition from the college game to the pro game because of the route running, and there's only certain colleges that can kind of get you ready for that. So out of all the skill positions, it seems to be wide receiver is one of the toughest to transcend up into the pro. So the fact that you then don't have to teach somebody that, you just have to teach them the new system.
Yep. And I've just quickly went back to the 2017 draft just to check this point even more. So the high end wide receivers, Zay Jones at the Bills. I think last year there was no wide receiver that had more drops than him. You had
surely Calvin Benjamin. Fucking hell.
No, from
but even Calvin Benjamin.
No, I don't. I think he's John Ross.
Hands of Teflon.
John Ross, who can't stay healthy.
Mike Williams at the Chargers.
He's okay. Yeah, he's come good.
Corey Davis.
Titans struggled. But he was injured most of last year, so this is really his rookie year.
Curtis Samuel at the Panthers, I don't think he's done too much.
Nope.
And the next wide receiver, this one worked out, was Juju.
But that's what, the fifth one off the board, so
yeah.
They're already in round 2 now.
Yeah, round 2, and then Taywan Taylor to the Titans again.
Yeah, very streaky. One or two solid games, but...
And this is obviously a Steel Cooper Cup in the third round.
Yeah.
That worked. But there's quite a lot there.
But where's Cooper Cup on the Rams depth chart, though?
Probably 2. 1. Would you put him above Cooks? Don't know.
Really? Oh God, I was thinking it was going for 3. But I'm trying to think.
Who would
who else.
Robert Woods? I would put Woods ahead of Cup.
Yeah, I suppose
There's a real rotation in that Rams
Yeah.
wide receiver core, and I think you could make arguments that in any one game,
Yeah, that's true.
any of those 3 is one.
But so what I guess when you look at that list, there's probably more busts in the wide receiver position than there is.
Oh,
Of course.
definitely, and it's yeah. Wide receiver seems to be a position where the guys at the top seem to bust quite often, and the guys in like the 3rd, 4th round come good. Where did Antonio Brown get drafted? 3rd round, 4th round? Might even been further down than that.
Oh,
it
Jesus,
was
I'm looking at
low, but I don't
I'm
know.
looking
It wasn't like top 10 picks or anything.
I promise after this so the 2016 wide receiver
Oh God,
class.
here we go.
We're going to end up in 2002 at this rate.
Laquan Treadwell.
Bust.
It's
So actually, he's doing. This is the first year I've actually heard his name being called, and it's year 3. He's actually getting some touches, but he's easily the 3rd in the depth chart.
Corey Coleman.
Not even on a team anymore, is he?
No.
He was cut from the practice squad.
Josh Doxson, who's sucked for the Redskins. As much as
Yep.
I want to try and pretend he hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Will Fuller, he's worked out pretty well, but he's always injured.
Yeah, Doxton, I saw a thing about someone mentioning that Doxton is still a sleeper in fantasy, and my point was that he just needs to wake the fuck up.
So and that was all first rounders.
Yeah.
So
your point being, actually, if you put all them on paper, how many of them are you taking ahead of Mari Cooper? Actually, not that many of them. So okay. Argument convinced.
well done, me. So we just looked at the 2016 draft. Another nice little segue. Someone else that went in the first round of the 2016 draft, Eli Apple. I'm gonna. Is it possible to
segue the entire episode?
Is it possible
to
patent segues?
Patent it.
Can
no,
I?
a company.
The guy
a company
the
is
segue have already done that.
struggle.
So Eli Apple went from the New York Giants, who are clearly another team that are,
Full rebuild now.
Yep. So they traded him to the Saints, and what they got was a 4th rounder and a 7th rounder in return from the Saints. 4th rounder in 2019, 7th rounder in 2020.
Yeah.
So winner of that one, Saints and the Giants.
Ooh, interesting.
I think it's a fair trade.
It was fair. I was going to say that's one
Colin,
that
that's
seems
one
to
that
be
works
both.
out for
Both seems to be okay. Giants were obviously done with him because he was falling out with them last season.
Yeah, I've got
getting benched
He
and
has
all sorts
one
of stuff,
interception in his career.
wasn't
Right. Sure, yeah.
I don't know the stats.
Sure,
on
he's
that
had one interception in his.
Ugh.
I know that Landon
Exactly.
Collins called him a cancer.
Oh,
That is
That's
as damning as it gets.
Statement, yeah, as you can get.
Um,
Because Landon Collins is arguably the
he's
defensive
awesome.
leader of that team,
Yeah.
generally speaking, anyway. So.
So I guess from the Saints they needed a bit of help there. They've got Marshawn Lattimore, so you've got Eli Apple. Yeah.
They're looking for some upside on that, but I think it's a risky trade, I think, but they're not giving away a huge amount.
Yeah, it's
so
only a
to me it looks.
Yeah, but
As long as you're avoiding the top 3 rounds, generally, it's my opinion, and it is only my opinion, from 4th pick downwards, you're a boom or bust nearly with half of those picks anyway, so it doesn't really matter if you're just tossing them away now.
yes.
Yeah.
So we're calling that one in the middle. No one's a real winner or loser on that one.
Yeah, I think I don't think the Saints can lose from it because they've not given away much, but I think they can really win from it.
Yes. Give you one a couple of years from now, you look back on it and go like,
That was a steal.
Yeah.
oh, the poor Giants. Not only did they have 2 sucky seasons back to back, they kept on Eli Manning way too long. They decided to trade away what could have been their best player now.
Yeah.
Not that that's actually probably going to happen, but it
Yeah,
could
no,
have
Although,
been
I mean,
hilarious.
there's obviously something about his fit with that organisation,
Sure.
and there's been a long enough period that he's been there where he's shown that he just doesn't work there. So
Yeah,
a new situation helps him.
Yeah, so, and then the Giants got rid of an actual Giant in Snacks Harrison, who's a man mountain.
That'll work. I was going to go with players that don't fit with teams because actually he was pretty much rooted out of the Jets as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless it's the New York media market.
Yeah.
Could be that argument.
Maybe.
But, yeah.
So he went to the Lions for a 5th rounder. I think the Lions have won this one.
Oh, aye. Easy pickings.
I'm surprised more teams didn't try and go for him. He's a hoose. He is, to use the Scottish term, he's a hoose.
It's maybe one of these things though that the Lions were the only ones that phoned up and asked. And then actually, rather than the Giants sitting back and going, oh, let's put the feelers out and see if we can sneak a fourth out of this or whatever, they probably thought, do you know what, he's a pain in the arse. For whatever reason, we're not keeping him after. Is he near the end of his deal?
Yeah. Oh no, he was a 2-year deal
Was he
last year. 2-year deal last year. So yeah, this would be his last year, I think.
So they might be just thinking, well, he's going to be gone in the off season because the free agency frenzy will take care of him and he'll disappear.
Just take what we can get.
Just take it now.
Yeah.
So the Lions. So I'm thinking because they traded away Nagata, didn't they?
Yeah, Hello Nata is at the Eagles.
Yeah, so that's probably a replacement for them on their defensive line. And a division against the Packers. The Vikings have got an awful offensive line, so that helps them there.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears have got a good offensive line, so that improves that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it's a winner for the Lions.
Good shout. Because they're a team that bizarrely haven't done great this season, but seem to be trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
Certainly with getting Kerryon Johnson involved the last couple of weeks, that seems to really have settled them down. Stafford is a really good quarterback.
Yep.
We have this where I place quarterbacks. I'm not going to go back to this again because I mess it up routinely. But I'm going to put he's good. I'm not going to use the word elite, but he's really good.
Yeah, I love when we talk about your quarterback rankings.
Ever since I put Winston middle of the pack and he was easily 28, I was like, oh shit, I messed that one right up. Some of the rookies that have come out this year, you'd take ahead of him.
I'm looking forward to it being like, I'd probably put Aaron Rodgers around 17.
I'm not that bad, come on.
Okay, so the other trade that happened, no segue for this one. Carlos Hyde, a 5th rounder for Cleveland to the Jags. I'm going to say the Browns win this one, and the reason being, if Fournette comes back healthy, how do you fit Hyde in?
Fournette doesn't come back healthy.
Nah.
He's got persistent problems with his hamstrings in an explosive position. His hamstrings are going to go every season. He'll have about a 5-year career.
I'm sure Hyde's got injury troubles as well. I'm sure he missed a while with the San
He
Fran.
bust his knee or something like that.
He did miss time with the 49ers. I can't remember for how long, but I'm sure he was out for a while. I'm going to use the power of the internet.
The power of the internet.
But yeah, so
click, 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 click.
So if Fournette comes back, and a team they went from having loads of cap room to now having pretty much fuck all. So they're going to be a position where draft picks mean a lot to them, because they can't afford to pay everybody.
Yeah, they're going to have to take a ton of rookies and flesh out the
So I think actually for them it's
cheaper players.
It's the Browns that have won that one.
Yeah,
I'm ready to be told otherwise.
Nick Chubb seems to.
Yeah,
he's always
that's
the
another
person.
point, actually.
He's always the person they drafted to that would have eventually replaced Hyde. Hyde was that veteran fill-in for a year if they needed, just in case it took Chubb a year to get going for whatever reason. However, they seem to be happy enough with him now anyway, that they're just going to throw him in now.
Yeah.
So, and
Carlos Hyde had a fracture and missed half season in 2016.
yeah, that's right. A couple of years ago now.
A couple of years
Obviously
ago,
not done him
it was a
seriously
bone
wrong.
break rather than a
Yep.
muscle injury.
Yeah, he was fine with that.
Okay, so I'm going for Browns winner. Anyone any different? Anyone seen the Jags want that?
The Jags ain't winning much at the minute, no.
Yeah.
Shall we use that not winning as a potential really rubbish segue into the Wembley game this week?
It wasn't the worst segue. I feel like we should start rating our segues. Segue power rankings.
A new feature of the American Football Cast. Segue power rankings.
The Wembley game. So our friend Kev, who sucks at fantasy football,
Oh, harsh.
for our listeners, Kev and I have a continual back and forth every year about fantasy. So much so that in our 2 QB league, Kev's team is literally called Anyone But Gav.
He doesn't care if he wins it himself, he just wants anyone else.
And yeah, just to gloat on it, I absolutely smashed Kev this week, 123 points to 61.
It was double. It was one of the biggest gaps I've seen in a long time.
I could have benched all my wide receivers and played 3 people in buys and still beat them.
Oh dear.
Deary me, Kev. Deary me. Right, okay, so...
No, I'm staying quiet during that segment.
0-7, Dr. Smith. 0-7.
Oh my god.
So bad. So
Yeah.
bad.
Unlucky.
So, the Wembley game. Thoughts?
Yeah, so the point in contention being, obviously, at the very, very end, Vrabel decided to go for it to win the game rather than taking it into overtime on a 2-point conversion.
Yes, so Chargers 7 points ahead, Titans with the ball, Titans get the touchdown, and do you take the extra point and go into overtime? Do you go for the 2-point conversion and try and win it? My view is the way that the game had gone, so I think the Chargers were up most of the game. Titans came back strong in the second half and had all the momentum. For me, I'd have taken the extra point and backed to go to overtime and win it there because you're on top. Whereas I don't know what the average conversion rate is on a 2-point conversion, but I bet it's not much more than half if it is at all.
I wouldn't think it was great. Yeah, it must be something like that, 40-50%. If I had to put a guesstimate on it.
Here's a fun stat for you. In the last...
So the Titans, I looked up, so the Titans haven't had an attempt at 2 points for about 3 years.
Yeah, I was just going to say they've not...
Not done it for the last 2 seasons, I don't
Or no, they've not converted.
They've not yet. Now that's what it was, because they talked about it on the broadcast about the Titans have not converted their last 8 2-point conversions.
So that even reinforces my thinking in that if you're on such a bad run of 2-point conversions,
why are you going
you're
for
coming down the track at the end of the game as the team that are
In
putting
the
the pressure on.
Yep.
Take the extra point and just back your team overall to get the win rather than a 2-point conversion.
One slight counter argument to you're on a bad run with that. It's a different coaching scheme. I know the outcome hasn't changed, but it's a different coaches that are doing it. So that scheme, there's a big variable in that there. So
the Vrabel variable.
Yeah, that was good.
Nice.
So yeah, and I get the safe points of it, but I liked it. I like
going for it. I mean,
I get your point.
Wins and losses, ties they're a pain in the arse really when it comes to looking at where your teams are sitting at the end of the season, and because it's worth a half win, fuck it, go for it. You know what I mean? Keep the record nice and easy. You want 10 wins. You don't want 9.5 and hope bloody hell that'll do.
Do you think so? What are they 3-4 now? Is that right?
Who?
The Titans.
Titans. Yeah.
So do you think they were at a stage where they thought, in our division, we need to win this game? Do you think that was maybe part of their consideration?
I don't know.
They were joint top of the division before going in with Houston at 3-3. So they had.
I think regardless either way.
Yeah, I know what you mean by that. But
I'm not sure that the overall decision comes into it, because I think it is just the thought process has got to be what's the best way to win this game. Now, if you're 2 points behind and trying to take it to overtime, you go for 2 points every time. Mm-hmm. But for me, the best way to win that game for the Titans was to take it to overtime and to win it there. That was what represented their best chance to win that game.
You still got, so if you think of it, and again, I do get that point as well, but so you've got, the kicker has to score the point. Could miss. Probably not, because Ryan Suckup's a good kicker.
Let's segue that into, well, it happened in the Baltimore game, didn't it?
Yeah.
Justin Tucker, who was 222 from 222 on extra points, had to kick his extra point to take it to overtime, and he missed it.
So you have to score your extra point. You also have to hope that one of the best offences in the league doesn't score a touchdown before you, which is, and you can't argue that
because it's done in a coin toss. You know, it doesn't. So your team in ascendancy, had the coin toss gone the Titans' way, then actually you could have backed them quite easily.
Maybe, but again, they don't have a great offense, and I know the ascendancy. Yeah, it's the momentum was with them.
They certainly had more ascendancy in the defensive side of the ball, though.
Yeah,
which,
so you're going to
because Eckler was a bit of a non-factor at the weekend.
You would have backed their defense to at least keep them out of the end zone and keep the Chargers to a field goal to keep the game going.
They got a 75-yard touchdown on the first play of the game. It took them ages, really, to do anything else.
Yeah, there was at one point, Terrell
Williams'
really stats over the last 2 weeks were insane.
You dropped it in.
He'd about
6 catches.
5 receptions
5.
at one. 5 catches from 6 attempts for about 250 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Just amazing.
So yeah,
No, I like the idea. I think one general observation is I think the league has changed towards this in the last few years, and you probably quite rightly said you reckon it was Jack Del Rio, the Raiders, a couple of years ago that kind of started this as a movement. He had 2 games. He went for the kill at the end of the game and won them.
Yep.
Doug Peterson at the Eagles has been very much like that. He's come in and gone, do you know what, I'm just going to go for it. And actually that seems to be slowly filtering through the league. There is more impetus to go for it, and even taking more 4th downs during the game, because teams are going for the fact that, right, I've got 7 possessions in a game, right, I need to score X number of points.
How many times did we see 4th and 8s and things?
There was
this weekend.
There was a lot of 4th and 4, 4th and 6, 4th and 8. Yeah, there was
not only this weekend, but in general.
I think teams make that decision based on where they are in the field. So if
you're not going to take a 4th and 8 in your own,
on
your own 20.
Game Strip made it happen, but the Cowboys were on 4th and 9 against the Redskins and then converted it, which was a good laugh. But then it didn't work out for them because they missed the field goal.
Well, there was a game a couple of weeks, maybe it was only last week, I can't remember, where the Patriots punter didn't even take the field the entire game. Dustin Colquitt at the Chiefs didn't come onto the field until the 4th quarter in their second week game against the Jags, maybe third week, second week, can't remember. There are punters who are quite happily getting their £1 million a week for doing not a lot these days. Because teams are going for it because you want to stay in the field and you want to score as many points as possible. You particularly want to score more touchdowns, but even the field goals. But actually, the points are going up. Fences are scoring more. Part of that is the fact that teams are going for it on 4th down now, where normally they would kick it away.
Yeah.
And they would play more, right, our defence is going to stop you, and then we're going to get it back and we'll score the next time round. More teams are thinking, sorry, I'm just going to score now.
Yeah, which...
Oh, it's all good, Val. It's better for
fun
you,
to watch.
isn't it? Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I also think that...
But I totally get your point, Andrew. Absolutely. The momentum in the game shifted to a way that you would have possibly thought, no, chip your point and go for it in overtime. Yeah. There would have been yet another overtime game, though. How many of them have we seen this season? It's ridiculous. Browns have had 4 now.
It's great fun.
You think?
Yeah, I love overtime games. I think they're brilliant.
I don't like an overtime game that goes to like when no one scores.
Yeah, I feel like...
Oh, but if it's like kickers missing from 25 yards, that's fucking hilarious.
Is that the Browns versus the Bucks? Oh, but you just were watching that on Red Zone, eh? Was that where all the chat was going? Because I never seen any. I didn't see the game.
That was highlights this weekend.
The live game moved from the Wembley game to Jets Vikings. Was that the 6 o'clock game?
Yes.
And then just because that went on forever, just chipped into whatever was following.
And there was a good 4th and 8 converted in that one as well, wasn't there? I think the Vikings converted 4th and 8 for a touchdown or something like that. It was about a 40-yard touchdown off the 4th and 8, I'm sure. Because I'm sure at that point Hammy made the point of I'm done watching that after.
Oh right, yeah. Well, they were whipped. Yeah. So, where does that take us now? Gav, you're meant to be segueing, but you're clearly too busy on your phone doing something not important.
Finding what we were supposed to be segueing into. So, things that people need to move on from.
20 minutes.
Blake Bortles. Does he need to be moved on from? Let's just do yes or no. Because this is easy. Yes.
Are we doing this as part of our best worst, or are we talking about?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that then.
Right, we'll talk about him in a little while then.
Okay, fuck you, Blake Bortles.
So,
bad segues.
We're going to do over the next couple of weeks. We're going to do a bit of best and worst.
Power rankings. Gav's down to 3.
We're going to do a bit of best and worst on offensive and defensive positions from the season so far.
Yeah.
This week we're going to go on the offense. Let's start with
the best or the worst.
Best. Let's go best first.
Best.
Yep.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
Start with that. May as well. Yeah. It is the premier position in the game.
I think I put in the chat on Monday that watching the Patrick Mahomes display against the Bengals was easily the best I've watched from one single quarterback this season. He was incredible, and just everything to the way he played in Kareem Hunt, to the way he played in Tyreek Hill, to the way he played in Travis Kelce, to the way he played Sammy Watkins, to the way that he ran the balls, just everything was perfect. I think there's nobody you could argue is having a better season than Pat Mahomes.
He's playing the game with a smile on his face, which is the other bit I love watching.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes you get seasons where teams are always winning. Let's just say, like, it's the Patriots, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you find is the live game on Sky is, oh, it's the Patriots for the 5th week in a row, and I'm just like, fuck off, right?
Yeah.
I'm not in the mood. I've watched them too many times. See if they were giving me the Kansas City Chiefs the next 3 weekends. I'm going to happily watch that. I'm not caring. It doesn't matter if they're blowing out teams by 40, 50 points. Fuck right, I'm watching.
It's because, again, I think that comes down to the way that Belichick plays football is obviously great, but the way that Andy Reid plays football is exciting.
Yes.
And that's the difference.
Belichick's is it's more controlled, I think, is the...
I'm going to out-scheme you.
Yeah.
You know, and you'll get a different game each week. You will get Brady bombing it for 60 passes in the game one week, and the next game it's like 50 runs versus 20 passes.
Yeah. So whereas I think that the Chiefs, they're so explosive.
They don't care. They're just going to outscore you. It's like the old. I think we mentioned this before in the early weeks. It's like the old Brazil at football. Yeah. It's like, I'm just going to score more than you. I don't care.
Yeah.
We don't have a defense. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. So I mean, as for best quarterback, I had 4 names I had written down. So Mahomes, one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose it's the traditional 2 best in the league against the new boys, so to speak. So you've got
Josh Rosen's been awful.
He'll have his time.
Well, you say new boy, but he's not that new. Eh?
Right,
he's
so
his third year now.
He's still on a rookie contract.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. If we go with that being the de facto. Yeah.
Okay, so Mahomes and Goff being the new boys. So he's only in his second year starting, second full year starting Goff, and Brady and Rodgers as the established old timers.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to throw 2 more on the pile. And actually, for the simple reason of how it boils down into the proper numbers when you get right into the guts of it, those 2 people are Drew Brees and Phil Rivers.
Yeah, I knew that was where you were going there.
Yeah. So passer ratings, when it comes down to the crux of it, you've got like could have most touchdowns, could have whatever. The way the rating, I will not break it down because I actually don't know, right? No one fucking knows how this works, right? The computer works out and you get a number, okay? But in a nutshell, it is generally how good you are each time you have the ball in your hand. Mm-hmm. It's the simplest way of looking at it. Who's getting the best combination of yardage and touchdowns and not interceptions and whatever as an overall. So top is Breeze at 121.6. And second is Rivers at 117.8.
Drew Brees?
Oh my god. One little quick thing on Drew Brees. Have you ever watched his Bear Grylls episode? It's fucking amazing.
No, I need to dig that out.
It's so good. Him and Drew Brees and Bear Grylls are in some stupid place doing stupid things, and they like
drinking their own piss and all that.
I can't remember what animal.
Is this before they walk off set and go into their trailer and then?
So let's not get into Bear Grylls.
Oh, okay, right.
Because of the authenticity of the man.
But the full episode.
Put on makeup and just get dirty you up here a minute. Right, on you go. You've been in the field for 3 days. Remember, that's all you got to remember.
I promise you should watch it. Because even just listening to Drew Brees, he talks about like respect, family. He's just got all the morals that nobody else has.
It was the moment when he got the passing yards record and his kids are on the sideline.
I have not watched the footage of that.
And he's just remember that you can grow up to be anything you want to be. You can set your dreams and you can.
You've got a tear in your eye now recapping it.
Why are you not my dad?
Right, my 2 co-hosts are balling themselves to death now.
So
not that kind of balling.
Balling themselves to death and wide receiver.
You might have just chipped back up in the rankings with that one.
So we're not finishing our quarterback conversation.
No, because I said it was Mahomes. I said it was Mahomes.
We'll throw in the 6 names. The 6 names are pretty consensus. There's a couple of people outside potentially chipping. You could say Matty Ryan because he's having a career year. He's top of the yardage at the minute.
Yeah, but his team's pitch.
He's only top of the yardage because he's got no defense.
Are we going to nail down the best, or who we think is our individual opinion of it, or will we just go with a bunch of people per position?
I'm throwing out a name, I'm chucking Rivers, even though statistically Breeze is better in terms of rating. I actually think Rivers he's having his best year. He is helping the Chargers, who should hit the playoffs as well, have a chance of hitting the Super Bowl. That actually would cement his career.
So this means that if I throw out a different name to you two, whoever it is by consensus in the top 3, yeah?
Must be.
God damn it.
Who have we got? Sam Bradford.
Is he starting anywhere again? We've talked about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? When he got benched for Rosen.
He's made of chocolate, so no.
Oh, you even said that in weeks. Sam Bradford is made out of chocolate.
No, genuinely, I think I agree with Gav here. I'm giving it to Mahomes.
Giving it to Mahomes
Pat
because he's
Mahomes.
new boy in the kit. So you've got a new boy in the scene versus
Even though it hurts
Rivers,
that
who
he
is
should
on
be a
the
Cardinal.
old bet.
Yeah, I think if you say anything other than Pat Mahomes, you're just lying to yourself.
Yeah.
So
I'll keep lying to myself.
okay.
Once Rivers retires.
Just because you've seen Phil Rivers drafted.
He's just trying to remain friends with
Talking
Kenneth.
about seeing Phil Rivers, so obviously they played Wembley at the weekend, and Kev
We might have
went
mentioned
to see
it.
them. Yeah, but I think we did. I have also seen Phil Rivers at Wembley. Do you guys remember what year this was?
No, because we're not as old as you.
1983.
Come on, I was 2.
Did they have TVs?
It was the second ever Wembley game.
You're just going to
Was it
have to
quick?
tell
Have
us.
to tell us.
2008. 2008, okay? Who were they playing? Do you remember that?
So the first one was the Giants, wasn't it? Did they play
Giants
the first
Dolphins
game?
was game
I was
1.
10, so I don't
We've
know.
actually just talked about him. It was the
Oh
Saints.
no, I wasn't 10, I was...
Saints versus the Chargers was.
I don't know how old I am.
The second game. You don't even know how old you are.
I just said I was 10.
Jesus, Gav.
You
You're
were 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I'm not. I was
You were
20.
20. I was 16.
Jeez.
You were 10 years ago, and you're 30. God almighty. Great maths, folks. Great maths.
I'm glad
That was a quiz that went horribly wrong.
So it was Breeze against Rivers.
Breeze against Rivers, and I watched it. Yes, it was my first ever live game, and it was actually the thing that got me back into the NFL. It was a mate of mine that had tickets. He has a spare one, and he says, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Do you know what? Yeah, let's go see what this is all about."
2008. So
And
that
it was
that
something
was
like
the
37-42
Saints
or something
Super
crazy
Bowl
like
winning
that.
season.
No,
They won
I think they won the
January
year
09.
after that. I think they won the year after that. I want to say
January
because
10.
there was this weird.
Yeah, no, it was.
There was this weird thing in the first couple of Wembley games where the team that had played in the Wembley game the next year went and won the Super Bowl. So I think it was the Giants in the 2007 game against the
Won the Super Bowl in
Dolphins
08.
in 2008. They won 08, and the Saints did 08 at Wembley and won it in 09
Yeah.
or something really weird like that for a couple of years. And there was this almost like this hoodoo about if you played a Wembley game, wait till next year. You're sorry. Anyway, so we spent way too long talking about quarterbacks, so offense might have to spill into week 2. We will see how quickly we can get through the rest. Jumping at running back,
Best running back, Todd Gurley.
that is
There's
absolute
no
no-brainer.
discussion here, is there?
No, because he
Honourable
does.
mention
Yes,
to-
we can do honourable mention.
Okay,
let's go.
That works.
But it is the best
It's-
is Todd Gurley. He is actually on for the single season record, which I think in nowadays games where it's all passing orientated, I didn't think he would have. I didn't think a running back would be able to kind of replicate the same numbers as LaDainian Tomlinson from 15 years ago or something. I don't know what it was.
He's just, the last 2 years he's just
Ascended.
taken off, isn't he?
McVay uses him perfectly in that system. There's another piece of the offense which is helping, which
Do you
we
love
will
Sean
get into
McVay or
in a
Drew
minute.
Brees more?
Sean McVay. It's not even a question. I do love Drew Brees though.
What is helping Gurley, we will talk about in a minute. But scheme is one of them. Coaching. There's another piece which we'll get to in a minute. But because he's doing both pass
Passing,
catching
running,
and running the ball,
breaking
and he's getting
tackles,
touchdowns on
blocking.
both.
He's awesome.
He's throwing down some brilliant.
I just
numbers.
worry for the Rams when they have to
Pay them
everyone.
both.
pay everyone.
Gurley's already on his more expensive contract. They had to
Oh,
re-up
okay.
him last year, so you don't have to worry about him. It's 40 million over 3 years
Goff,
or something like that.
Goff, they've got what, 2 more years?
But you'll re-up
Right,
him after
so-
this season.
Yeah, so they've got 2 more years of golf.
Yeah, they
They've
don't.
got
Yeah.
2 years and then they have to pay Gurley again. Or
Yes. Or Jetson at that
declines,
point.
Yeah, you're not going to risk going down Le'Veon Bell
You're
routes.
taking him in his prime. You've got him in his prime at 10 million a season. Fucking bargain. It was the number. What he's producing back is just insane.
Yeah.
You've just re-upped Donald. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Actually, the Rams are in a fucking alright place. Like,
Yeah.
it's actually quite scary if you think of how many pieces they've got. And really, out of that, Goff's the only one that still needs paid at the moment. There's a lot of room because Sue. Well, the other thing as well, actually, you could transfer the Sue money in a cost contract.
Yeah, I think Sue's just here.
He's a 1 year.
this
He's
year.
a 1 year.
Stopgap,
deal.
yeah.
Are they paying him 20 million for this year?
So I think they've
God,
gone
doesn't
right.
matter.
This is the year we're winning it. Once we win it, see you later.
Yeah. Sue will be happy with that as well. I think he's a mercenary at this point.
Yeah, he is. Honourable mentions to Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
He's the only thing in New York that is doing anything decent. Sorry, the blue half in New York. I'll not.
No, he's the only thing in New York.
I wasn't going to shit all over the Jets too much, but Barkley's doing alright. I think
He's on course for 2K. Passing.
Really?
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah, apparently.
Ooh, interesting. Did not know that. Is that in that offense with that quarterback and that offensive line? Fucking hell! If you get 1,000, that is something else.
I think his numbers have been inflated by a couple of big splash plays, but
Silence. What's the silence?
Inflated by a couple of big splash plays.
Come
Continue.
on. I'm speaking to Andrew here in hand signals. trying to
Okay.
pretend host or
Jeez.
whatever. I don't know what I'm
right. So let's move on then. Let's move on because I don't want to honourably mention anyone anymore.
No, I was going to throw in. I'm going to throw in.
That.
Kareem
Alvin
Hunt.
Kamara as well started really strongly. So
He's
he
not
had a
done.
quiet week. What did he do this week?
He
I
got,
don't know.
I think it was 50 yards and a touchdown, but they were playing the Ravens, who had a good defense.
Oh, it is
Yeah.
solid.
Um,
Spoiler for next week.
Yep. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt. I'm checking on Kareem Hunt. He had a so-so beginning of the season. Wasn't too sure if he was going to do the full rookie regress sort of scenario, but actually he's getting.
Please tell me
back
you've seen
there.
his play against the Bengals where he breaks through the tackle. Oh my god.
No.
Oh, you guys suck.
Thanks.
I'll add that to the watch list.
Oh my god, he breaks through a
Dude, I've
tackle.
been ill. I've not been on.
I don't care if you're ill.
And okay, and a final honourable mention. We're going to have to talk about the Chargers again. And
Melvin Gordon?
Yes, yeah. I think you have to
Actually,
give him
yeah,
that.
I think
mention.
he
He's been very good.
Although, I think that I said it last week or the week before, he does have a really bad yards per carry. That's what wouldn't make him elite for me.
Yep.
He's got like
Absolutely
it's like 3.5 yards per carry or something like that.
It's 5.1.
Oh,
He is actually one of the better. Isaiah Crowell is doing better, but then you write down into weird things like
what
Kenny
about,
Johnson.
no, there was
Matt Breida.
something I seen on the NFL
Yeah,
website.
I remember. I know what you're talking about. I'm looking at the stats. I've got the stats right here. So
Maybe
rushing
he's had a
yards,
couple of big splash
400 and-
plays.
400
I don't know.
unless the low yardage includes his catches as well. And
I
maybe
don't
he's had
know.
a couple of catches for loss, or I don't know. But
Oh, well,
his
that's-
yardage,
I've been-
466 yards off 91 attempts. So he's got.
I've been
5.1
proven
average.
wrong. Oh well.
Yeah.
I
But
didn't
know,
see that
I know
though.
what you mean. No, you're right. Now that you've said that, I've seen that Melvin Gordon 3-point whatever it is written. So I know what you're on about. I don't remember what it was, but I know what you're on about.
So on to the people that make running backs relevant. Offensive lines. Here's a really fun stat for everyone. So the Rams are the number one ranked offensive line. I would say that they probably are the best. We're in agreement.
Yeah.
So
I'll mention someone else in a little while.
okay. So a really, really fun stat for everyone. John Sullivan, the Rams centre, he is the highest ranked performing centre in the league, but he is the lowest performing player on the Rams offensive line. How fucking
Absolutely
good is that?
love that stat.
That's
You're
amazing.
your
stat.
worst person on an offensive line is doing the best in their position in the whole league.
That's incredible.
So
See,
it
when I
shows you how
seen
much better everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Insane.
when I seen that, I was like, oh my fucking god, how's that even possible?
The trade for Whitworth off of the
Genius.
Bengals last season was the massive key into that. He is golden. He was
Probably one of
not getting the love that he should have. The Bengals should have rehubbed him. Like, they've done right. They've got away with it. But how much better could the Bengals have been if they kept him?
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the best trades that happened last season.
Oh, easy. I think we talked about this a few times, but yeah.
So the Rams offensive line, they're making Todd Gurley work, they're making Jared Goff work, they're giving him plenty of time, they're making Sean McVay's brilliant mind work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think they're number one for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Honourable mentions?
The mention I was going to give is the
Cardinals are awful.
well, we're going to speak about disappointing later. They are horrendous. The Steelers. The fact that you can take out Lev Bell, plug someone else in, and he still put up some really impressive numbers, you've got to have a brilliant offensive line for you to be able to do that. So I think they deserve a mention in that.
The passing yards per game is 329. They're second on the list, only behind the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers are only because of Fitzmagic causing havoc in the first few weeks, I think.
I like the Steelers. I like what's his name? The guy, was it
David DeCastro?
No, the other one, Alejandro Villanova.
Oh, Villanova, yeah.
He used to be in the army.
Yeah.
So that's all you need to know. He's like a legit army guy. Killed people.
I'm going to chuck in the Kansas City Chiefs O-line has actually been really solid this year. But I mean, the production, funnily enough, kind of the two of them kind of go in tow more often than not. You're not going to get, if we very quickly dump into one of the worst ones, you're not going to get the Giants top of any statistical things on yardage or points or whatever, because they're
can't
all
keep the
like
quarterback up. Yeah.
Which says a lot as to how good Saquon is.
Yeah.
If they're that bad,
If their O-line is that bad, how's he producing the numbers he's producing?
An O-line that should be in this mix, because on paper they should be one of the best, and they haven't been so the last couple of seasons. Cowboys?
You've stole my team from the worst.
Ah.
But yeah, the Cowboys. So we'll talk about that once we get to the worst. But yeah, for tight end then, I've gone Greg.
We're just missing out wide receiver completely.
I thought we'd done it. I said tight. Oh no, I just told you that off air.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, wide receiver. Yeah, wide receiver.
Well, I think you have to start with the guy who started the season with 8 consecutive 100-yard games.
7. But yeah, you're right. It's only week 7. If he gets this weekend, he's the all-time record.
So he's equal the start,
record.
and he would equal the all-time 8 this week. So Adam Thielen.
He's been awesome.
He's on for the he could get the record for the most amount of receptions in a season. He is now on target for 150. 150 catches in a season. Lunacy. Anyone that gets to about 80 or 90 has had a good season. He could double this, nearly. Ridiculous. He is on for the most amount of 100-yard receiving games in a season, which currently is 11. He looks like he could quite easily blast through that one. Anyway.
16.
It's just something else. And he plays out the slot. He plays more over the middle rather than
Dex is the whitey.
Yep. So, and is part of that Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
Is that just
lucky? I think it's Cousins and...
Because he did really well last season. He still had 1,300 yards.
This is a guy that, as we've said before, he was on a practice squad not very long ago.
It's actually 5 years, but it does feel like he's only been the last couple of seasons. But production-wise, he's only been actually catching the balls for the last since 2016. 2014 and 15 seasons, it was like 10 and 12 catches or something. I've seen the numbers the weekend.
Really accelerated out of there. We're putting up some quite impressive numbers.
A negative thing that impacts Thielen is the two things that the Vikings aren't good at is their offensive line isn't good and they don't have a run game. So they don't really have an option but to throw the ball. So if those things were to be fixed, then I wonder if he would do as well. He'd obviously still do great, but...
they wouldn't have to throw to him as often, so therefore his production wouldn't be the same. But...
So if they were to sort that, because they do have a really bad offensive line. But wide receiver, I actually prefer Tyreek Hill. He's got the most touchdowns in the league. And I don't think anyone can do what he can do.
I'm going to give an honourable mention. I don't think they maybe deserve to be in the best category, but as someone that has come from nowhere and really put up some strong numbers over the start of the season, is Tyler Boyd at the Bengals.
Yeah, he's having his breakout year. 3 years later.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Better late than never.
Well, it is. I mean, I suppose Thielen's a case in point that you can be on the roster or thereabouts, and then all of a sudden just...
Yeah, he's having a good season. He is having a good season.
He's really almost outshining AJ Green, which is some feat.
So, where are we at? So, I don't think we've got time to do the worst. Will we hang fire till next week?
Tight ends.
Tight ends, and then tight ends, and then wrapping up then. I'll let you two take the floor because I'm actually not prepared at all for this one.
Tight ends, okay.
There was a spoiler earlier, wasn't there? You'd already thrown yours.
I don't know if I said that.
Did
no,
you?
I thought you did.
No.
So let's just... Fucking hell, we're falling apart here, Steve.
I know.
Sam
It
Pope
was
you
all
up.
going alright. Yeah.
God damn it.
Your power rankings have gone through the floor.
No, I meant to say, this is your week hosting. That's what's wrong with me. Me and you switched.
Accountability, House Wrath. Accountability.
Okay.
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce is awesome. Big fan of Travis Kelce. But I actually went for Greg Kittle from the 49ers.
George Kittle.
George Kittle. Greg
You
Kittle.
love him so
Greg's his
much,
little
you
brother.
don't know his name.
I wrote Greg Kittle. I don't even know why. He's
It's like John Gruden at the Redskins, eh?
525 yards or something like that he's had, and a couple of touchdowns
527,
That was
2
close.
touchdowns.
on a team that's being manned by CJ Beathard. I think that's really impressive.
Beathard's not been awful.
He's not been awful,
But
but
still nice.
but when you think Kelsey's got Mahomes thrown to him, Zach Ertz has got Carson Wentz thrown to him, so that's why I gave Greg Kittle.
Your boy Greg.
No, Josh Kittle, the mention that he does. And is he first year? Is this his first year in the league? Second year?
Very quick.
Second year in the league.
Yeah, it was second.
So yeah, I think he deserves a shout. Steve, just say a name, Steve, so this doesn't say anything. Say some old person that will not know.
Oh, Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates got a catch from Rivers at the weekend. That was the thing I was putting in the chat. As soon as I seen it, I was like, that's Kev's life has been made. He has witnessed a Rivers to Gates completion first hand. No, he's nowhere near the hunt. The fact that it was no surprise he was coming back to the Chargers, especially when Henry got injured in the preseason. You're like, time to call the old man up again. It's his 86th season. He actually looks unfit, bless him. I think my body shape is slightly better than his.
That's what happens when you're as old as time.
Oh dear. Anyway. So, I actually genuinely have nothing to throw in the mix on this.
So in terms of the most disappointing, we were talking about the most disappointing. I think we could just sum it up front to back as the Cardinals offense.
Most disappointing running back?
David
Johnson.
Most disappointing offensive line? You've got a couple. You've got some contenders for that. Let's be honest. You know, you're not doing great, but
the Cowboys.
There's a couple of people that are. Yeah.
I put the Cowboys as my most disappointing team just because Zach Martin, Tyron Smith have both been rubbish. They're ranked 15th.
I want to throw the Giants in there only because when we were doing divisional roundups, I thought their trade for Solder and drafting Will Hernandez should have helped shore that up, and they're just god awful.
Quarterback, we had Sam Bradford. He was really disappointing considering he stayed fit.
Eli Manning,
and earlier we touched on Blake Bortles and said we were going to speak about him a bit more.
Blake Bortles.
We lied.
Is it time for the Jags to move on from Blake Bortles?
I'd say yes.
I think so. The only way Bortles will be able to redeem his career if he takes them now to the Super Bowl from this week. And
they should trade for Sam Bradford.
I seen that they were apparently considering a trade for Teddy Bridgewater, which I thought would be quite good. It'd be his third team or fourth team this year already, but I quite like that.
Saints would be sensible to hold on to him though, because if the Saints win it all this season, I think Breeze will go out. I think he'll go out on the top,
on the sunset.
He's got a whole pile of records going for him. It's the perfect time for him, and then all they do is they step down and Teddy Bridgewater. Now I say it's step down, it's a little bit of a step down, but actually Bridgewater's got a lot of upside, and he's got age on his side as well. It's not the worst. It's not the worst.
And a chocolate knee.
Chocolate knee. Yeah. We'll see. Wait a minute. What do you mean by that?
Right, we're calling time on this week then. Well, yeah, 57 minutes. Jesus. Well, it's more than. Did you not have a meeting like 7 minutes ago? You maybe. Alright, good.
Wait, I thought you were the one that had a meeting. Wait, we're not. We're in a secret location. We're not talking about
don't
meetings.
have a meeting. Yeah, not a meeting.
No meetings here.
One what?
You've got a meeting at 1.
Sorry, you're giving me a wee cue.
For our listeners, what just happened there? So, Andrew just gave Steve the one sign of that's what his meeting was. Steve was like, one what? When we were talking about meetings, oh my god.
Oh,
I'm still not well. That's what I'm saying.
Why do we bother?
we're a fucking farce. If you're
It's
still
professional
listening,
podcast.
thank you.
The American Farce Cast.
You will get us at the AF cast, and if F could stand for farce, it doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah, you will get us at the AF cast.
Absolute farce. Yeah.
Thank you to everyone who has contacted us so far on everything, really. Actually, we've had
On that
feedback.
note, we were invited to a group called the Brit Posse.
I was about to mention that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
That's
you will
pretty
hear
cool.
more about this over the next couple of weeks when we hear more and actually realise what we're about to sign ourselves up to. I don't think it's anything bad. It's all good.
Oh, and we might have an exciting project coming over the next couple of months, but you'll hear more about that when we have more
Dun, dun,
firmed up
dun.
news.
That is a hook and a half. You'll have to join us for next week, episode 21.
Is it?
Yeah, 20 is this week.
Is it? I
Yeah.
didn't listen to your
Right,
introduction.
you can't do your maths. We've already discussed this earlier when you take 10 away from
You're
30.
hosting
and
next
it's
week,
10.
Gav.
No.
Yes. What's the 3 times table?
85.
Yeah. So next week, Gav will be hosting.
You're in for a ride.
Thanks again for listening, everyone.
Bye.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.